Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ron, aka Ron the Artist, coming to you live. And welcome to Ron's Recap. I'm here today to recap and review the TV show Grownish on Freeform, Season 4, Episode 16, titled Live Your Life. Let's get into it. Man, this was a really good episode. Like, emotional episode, and it really touched base on a few things. So again, let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. Okay, the episode started off with the gang, the collective, appearing in a hospital. Apparently Vivek's father got ill. In the midst of him attempting to repair their bond, the gang wished him well, and just pause right there. Pause. And like, it was just an episode or two ago where Vivek reached out to his father. Anna suggested that he reached out to his father, for help and advice on where to go. And I don't know for sure if that was a success. They didn't really discuss that, or there was no lines drawn in between then. But that was the last time that he was brought up. His father, Vivek's father, was brought up. I'm assuming he reached out to him, and now all of a sudden he's in a hospital. And again, as they were about to reach, repair their bond or whatever they were getting to, this happened. And crazy. So as the gang was prepared to, stay all day and night with him, they wished him well and was ready to rock it out until further notice, but Vivek wouldn't let them. He said, his goodbyes to them as he stayed behind. Meanwhile, Anna had to make sure that she had an input on it. She wanted to, get him to go down to the church with him because she was thinking about going, and he declined it, and they hugged it out. On to Phil. Phil, he's back. Like, guess who's back? Back again. Phil, the father of Nomi's daughter, is back on the scene. And Luca was ready to play ball with him. Ready to play ball and throw shade and all type of jabs at him, as he attempts to relieve Luca from babysitting Luna. And thank Luca for, babysitting. Luca couldn't really digest that. He's like, dude, you're a douchebag, deadbeat. And thankfully Phil was mature enough to like not keep going back and forth. Like, dude, I know what you're up to, Slim. I know what you're up to. You're just trying to antagonize me because you're a friend, and you blame me for not being here in XYZ, and valid. And as Luca should feel some kind of way. But again, he thanked him by calling him Slim and cut the petty convo short and off to put Luna to sleep, I'm assuming, or to like just play with her in general. On to Aaron and Zoe. Somehow they ended up at a restaurant with each other, eating, playing, and just silly, cute games with each other. And as they reminisced with each other after they left the hospital with Vivek. Like, y'all know, I'm here for them. I am here for Aaron and Zoe. I am here for Aaron and Zoe. I was happy to see them, get back to a point where they're in each other's space and loving on each other and communicating with one another. I was happy to see that. So they clearly missed each other. And they expressed it, which was another key moment. Again, I was here for that too. Unlike the other relationship. The other relationship that Zoe tends to go back and forth with. Again, I was happy to see that. And again, it seemed very genuine between them. In spite of the trials and tribulations. Aaron and Zoe seemed very genuine outside of the other relationship that she's drawn to. Like, Yeah, again, it makes more sense for the other relationship that she's drawn to kind of be in, but it feels more natural and authentic between her and Aaron. Writers, fix it. Fix it, fix it, fix it. Please fix it. Freeform, Grownish, fix it. Okay, moving on. Vivek, he was still at the hospital with his dad, making humor and light of the situation. He went to change his dad's socks, still making corny jokes, of course, being Vivek. And, changed them from the hospital socks to some Gucci socks. They were fly, too. As he roasted his dad's feet a little bit, his dad suddenly started flatlining. And in that moment, honestly, my heart kind of dropped. Because the nurses ran in and he's like, hey, all I did was change the socks. What's going on? And they asked him to leave the room. That was heavy. It was heavy. It was heavy. It was heavy. It was heavy, and the acting in that scene was dope too. So apparently, Anna did not leave the hospital because just as Vivek was making his way, frantically making his way to the waiting room after leaving that room with his dad, she was coming from out of the elevator. She called him in the frantic mode, and he explained to her, what was going on, and asked her to, pray for him. And not down at the church, just pray for him right then and there together. Because he clearly didn't want to be bothered with anybody else. He didn't have the mental to do it. And crazy. This episode probably was the most rawest I've ever seen out of Vivek in this show. Vivek is always the humor guy, the one making these corny dad jokes, and the one that the whole entire cast is kind of just playing on and downplaying and bullying low-key. He didn't have a whole big storyline throughout the franchise. He had some good moments, though. He was always there, but he didn't have a major storyline. But this season, his life seemed to be just going down a shithole. And honestly, in spite of the boy selling drugs, being a drug dealer, and on a deep end with that, he's very intelligent. He never really wronged anybody, I should say. He never really wronged anybody. He never really crossed anybody. So that, I'm like, dang, is he really deserving of this? This is a lot for Vivek. This is a lot. It was heavy. It was heavy. It was heavy. So Anna and him prayed, and it was emotional as she consoled him. Real emotional. I feel like that was a breakthrough moment for them as well. I actually see them now coming together more as a union. It's now beyond any sexual temptations they might have had toward each other. It's something beyond that now. Even more than just a regular friendship. It's something beyond that now. I feel it. I'm sure y'all feel it. It was depicted. It's there. Next up, Doug and Jazz. Another situation that I'm just not here for. Doug and Jazz, they came back from getting food from the dad's food truck to take back to Vivek's family in the waiting room. Doug started to ask Jazz about, her dad expanding his food to a restaurant. Him and Jazz began to getting all cute again. Not here for it again. And they got to, again, it's a way he's kind of showing he's ready to be a part of their family and help push their family and help, be one with her, and or at least be a union in unison with the family. And I'm just writers, let it be, let it be, let it be. Just let it be. I get you're making a good storyline here, but, and it's good. And let's not get it twisted, writers of Grownish. The storyline is good. But it's train wrecks waiting to happen. But if the show wasn't good, there wouldn't be train wrecks waiting to happen. Like, come on now. Like, train wrecks waiting to happen. So, but I'm just like, come on now, man. I don't know if the Doug and the Jazz thing is to happen again, but I do know that he is known for playing a game and still somewhat playing it. I don't know what the T is with Keela at the moment, but I feel like we haven't seen the last of her. So we'll see what happens with that. So back to Zoe and Aaron. Somehow, after leaving the restaurant, they ended up in the bed together. Intimate. You know, back at it again, I guess. As him and Zoe get back on the topic of Vivek, you know, discussing him and feeling bad for him, he went to check his phone to see a notification about a Black Excellence grant he applied for. He applied for it earlier in the episode, and he told her about it as they were sitting at the restaurant. He got it. And not only did he get it, but this grant will allow him to travel the world with many other students to universities all over the world. And that is massive. That is massive. Like, great opportunity. Like, he is the person for it. He's the person for it. Like, we know how passionate he is. We know how passionate he is amongst his people and talking with his people and embracing his people, being amongst his people. Like, Aaron is that guy to really empower some people, his people, to be more specific. And what other way can he do that by traveling to specifically schools and places where his people are that needs to be empowered? Good idea, good situation. So, yeah, that was that. And as the bonding moment between him and Zoe continued, she congratulating him, they all cute and stuff. It kind of went a little downhill from there because Zoe asked, all right, so where's your first pinpoint? And she says Johannesburg. Well, he said Johannesburg, which is in South Africa. And she's like, that doesn't sound like it's in Connecticut. And he's like, I know it's in South Africa. I know, due to being an art student and, you know, being familiar with the continent of Africa. But she I don't know what that moment was, but okay. So ultimately that means he'll be leaving her behind as they just rekindled. You know, they just rekindled, and that means he'll be leaving her behind as they just kind of, I guess, agreed to get back together, or at least see where things go, I guess. So, again, I can't wait to see where it goes. And it is tricky between them. It's like never the right time. It's never the right time for Aaron and Zoe when it feels so right between them. But it's never the right time. It's like nothing ever just flows smoothly with them. It's always trials and tribulations. Saddening. Upsetting. Okay, so next up. Once Doug and Jazz, you know, get back to the waiting room with the food, you know, they see Anna there crying in the chair. She then reveals to them that Vivek's father died. And again, a heavy moment because I'm like, whew. Like, Vivek's life has really made a 360 from being a turn-up, drug-dealing college dude, straight-A student, to now being technically a college dropout or like expelled from a university, got a misdemeanor on his freaking record, struggling to find a good job, and just a lot. So a week later from that, you know, there was Vivek's dad's funeral. Saddening, again, as he spoke at the arrangement. You know, it hit home. It hit home for me. It really did, you know. But I'm going to talk about that more at the end of the episode. Like, the gang, you know, after the funeral, the gang ended up coming back from the funeral arrangements, and Jazz and Doug went to the kitchen to have a moment. You know, Jazz asked Doug, you know, to work on a business plan. You know, what he said about, you know, her dad expanding his business. It struck some ideas with her, and she's thinking like, you know, they're about to graduate soon, so maybe him and her could work together and make that business happen for her dad, and making it by starting with a business plan. And he agreed to it, causing another bonding moment for them. It's sweet that they're being there for each other. Him being there for her more so, because for real, he owe her that. He really do. He owes her that. But it's like, really, what are we getting to with y'all? What are we getting to with Doug and Jazz? I'm just saying. So, next up, Nomi. Nomi came down the stairs in awe after seeing Phil sing to Luna. You know, he sung her to sleep. Meanwhile, bragging to Luca about it. But, of course, Luca wasn't for it. He feels like he's a deadbeat, a douchebag. As he continued to rant about, you know, Phil, Nomi checked the mail on the table to see her acceptance letter from Yale University, which was massive. Like, I don't think she even talked about applying to Yale. Massive, massive, massive. So, literally, this is the episode. That was the register for me where this is the episode that we're really starting to see the castmates start to go in their own directions. Even though Zoe said it at the beginning of the episode. She said it at the beginning of the episode in her narration. You know, everybody's starting to go off in their own forms, like in their own directions, and we're starting to see it. Graduation is approaching, and people are making plans and need to figure out what direction they're going to go in, and slowly but surely, people are doing that. People are doing that. So she got the, you know, acceptance letter from Yale. Massive moment, but the timing was all wrong, considering Phil just made his way back to LA to being a father to Luna. So what's to come from that? She cracked down on him already, you know, on his butt about, you know, the birthday party that he almost couldn't make it to, that he did. And he surprised her with an apartment there, and he's put in effort. So kudos to him. I see the effort. Kudos to him. But again, what now? Because I'm sure that Nomi applied for the Yale University situation before Phil came back into her and Luna's life. So what now? What now? Like, again, I'm involved. I'm really intrigued by this, guys. I'm really intrigued because these characters are really developing lives and stories outside of the house, even though it's taking place in the house. And what's next? Saddening. So, again, I want to know what's to come from that. How is she going to break that to Phil, even though she hasn't? That's going to be awkward. Okay, so back to Aaron and Zoe on the balcony, having another moment. You know, but Aaron can't really shake the idea of what's next for him. Again, another situation formed in a house, but like a storyline that's taking place outside of the house. They're really looking toward their futures. So he can't shake the idea of what's next for him. Meanwhile, the flame with him and Zoe just got rekindled. It just got relit, you know. So it's an awkward stance that they're at in this current moment. Although Zoe supports Aaron fully with his career and upcoming events, you know, it's still saddening. And again, I'm also not sure if they're quite back together at this moment either. And that's another person, Aaron, you know, when he made all these obligations to move and do XYZ, just like Nomi, these people, these external forces were not in that picture, such as Zoe or Phil. So they were making plans for them, or in Nomi's case, for her and Luna. So they weren't considering these other aspects and these other people. And now that these other aspects or other people are back, what's next? What now? This is a real troubling stance for a lot of the characters. And again, I'm anxious to know what's to come next. What's to come next? Like, what is it going to give? Because I'm going to be gagged. Whatever it is, I know it's going to have me gagged. It's going to have me gagged. I know it is. So, lastly, well, second to the last, Vivek, still processing his father's death. Meanwhile, Anna lifts him up for support. She catches him in that moment. She lifts him up in support. He's feeling like he has to fulfill his promise to his dad by getting his degree. So that's what he feels like he has to do. Make his father proud. Yeah. So that scene ended with him, getting love and support from the gang, sentimental loves and hugs and, regards. Sad because the man's life is real deal, like in a place where he doesn't know what direction he wants to go in, and now he has to figure that out without his dad's presence or without his dad's advice or counsel, whatever, and it's crazy. The last scene, the episode ended with him, Vivek, getting a foot massage and a scrub for the vase of his dad's ashes. True Vivek, true Vivek, true Vivek. Come on now. Getting a foot massage, enjoying that. Meanwhile, having somebody else scrub the vase for his dad. Like, how arrogant. how bizarre was that? But hey, you gotta, make sure he's good and right. Can't knock him for that. Again, the episode was good. The episode was good. Like, honestly, it took me a good minute to like really wrap myself outside of the DVR that I recorded this episode on, because, or I should say unwind is the correct word to use, to unwind myself from the episode, because it was heavy. Like, the episode was good and it was very relatable for me. I graduated undergrad, as I previously spoke about. I graduated undergrad in 2020. In December 2020, and my father passed away in January 2020. He was within the first 100 people to die from coronavirus, plus pneumonia in this country of the U.S. And at that moment, I was 3 semesters away from graduating. I had to miss the first week of school. That happened right before the semester started. That was my home stretch, kind of like the characters in the show right now. My home stretch was 3 semesters away from graduating. And he randomly caught it. At the moment, it was still not really on the radar of what was going on with this illness and where did it come from. We were still not familiar with it. So he caught it and kind of was in a state in his home, and family members found him and they took him to the hospital, and it kind of just went downhill from there, kind of like Vivek. And honestly, just like Vivek, after all that happened, after missing the first week of classes, which I let all my instructors know before the semester started, when all that was going on, that I was going to miss the first week, it was just like, I used it as fuel. I really did. I had to get back in line that second week of school because I was way too close to that finish line. I am the first on his side of the family to get a bachelor's degree, breaking a generational curse. I broke a generational curse. I'm the first to get a bachelor's degree, got a BFA. And he wanted me to get it so bad. He wanted me to get it so bad. He wanted me to, be there, get it, obtain it and really shoot for the stars with it. And it was like, again, I use it as fuel. Most people probably at that point probably would have been down and out and just sorrow and probably would have dropped out of college at that point. But the stakes were too high. The stakes were too high. I know for a fact that he wanted me to get that degree. He wanted me to get that degree so bad. The stakes were too high. There's no way in hell that he would have wanted me to drop out and just bow out of school on his dime like that. He probably would have turned over in his grave if I had done that. So I really felt Vivek in this episode. Like, it was super heavy because I got to really witness my dad, like, go away in the hospital as well. Like that. Not, verbatim, but very similar. And the pressure that it had on me and the effect that it had on me while in school, like, to get my degree. He wanted me to do that and, like, live up to my best potential. And that was all I could do was to honor him. That's the reason why, honestly, I'm talking to you guys now. Stuff like that, pushes me to really do my best at anything that my heart speaks to. So, yeah. This episode was heavy. I'm going to end it here on this note before I get all emotional. But, yeah, it's your boy Ron, a.k.a. Ron the Artist, coming to you live. If you're watching us on Instagram right now, we are live. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, it's not live, it's pre-recorded. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. Let's talk about the episode. Let's talk about the review. How did I do? What did you think about the episode? What were your thoughts? If you're watching this on Instagram, the same applies. Comment, like, follow, share. Let's talk about the episode. Let's talk about the recap. Till next week, guys. See you then.